Hi, I'm Jerry Osmus, Fire Chief at Norfolk International Airport. Welcome to this month's edition of Frontline.
Welcome to another edition of Frontline. I guess we could call this particular edition of Frontline the out with the old, the in with the new Frontline. We've got a lot of things happening down here at the training center. We said goodbye to one boss. We're getting another boss. We also have been fortunate enough to renovate our studio. And that's the first thing I'd like to tell you about. And I want to pay particular attention to thank the guys at Company 12 B Shift. Bob and I had this wild idea to renovate the studio so it would look nicer and we could accomplish a little better program, and Keith White and the fellows at Company 12 were nice enough to help us do that. So what you're going to see is we have a nice cyclorama and some new lighting, and our monitors are hung, and it's really going to help us do a better job down here for you to present the information out in the field. So I really want to make sure we thank Keith and those guys over there. We also have a sign out front that was compliments of Keen Black and Butch Jenkins. So if y'all get down here to the training center, stop by and take a look at that. It looks real nice outside the studio. All right, we said goodbye to Chief Mulch, and I want to thank him for all he did down here, but heck with him, he's gone. Let's talk about the new guy coming in. We got Battalion Chief Skip Brim, and Skip, are you looking forward to being down here, or how are you going to handle it?
Well, nobody looks forward to going off of shift work. I'm going to lose a lot of my golf time.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, but I kind of resigned myself to it. I've been in the department for 17 years, and I've never worked day work, so besides, I couldn't pass up the money that Paul paid me to take over his place down there.
I'll bet.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Have you established any goals for yourself as far as being down here on major things that you want to accomplish while you're here?
Well, I think one of them is the one that you and I have talked about several times, is the third cable channel, and being able to do some of this training from this particular spot live, have it available through the microwave tower, get some kind of encoding system set up so that we can get it into the stations. We can do some, hopefully we can do some staff meetings live so people can see what's going on. And if the opportunity arises, maybe even some type of mobile system where if we get a big fire, we can get you guys down there and feed it right in through the system and right into the fire stations.
Boy, and you just hoping you're not here long enough to see all that come true, I know.
I know. That sounds like a major project.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks for coming by the set today, and like I said, everybody down here obviously is looking forward to working with you, so.
Well, thank you, buddy. I've known you for quite a while, so I know what I'm cutting into.
Don't get into the bad stuff. This month on the program, we have the PT segment with Jim Milligan, and he's going to be talking about some speed walking with Mike Claggett. Y'all will find that particular section of the program pretty interesting. I also want to thank Billy Powell. One of the, we solicit ideas down here for things on the program based on what you send us from the field. Billy Powell called down here, I guess about 2 years ago, and thought we should do a segment on Slim Jims. And the wheel turned slow, and we finally got around to it, and we've got a real good section, compliments of one of the fellows down at 14 that's a locksmith. He came by, and we did a little section on Slim Jims, and you'll get a lot out of that. We're going to introduce the rookies to you, the ones that just graduated. As a matter of fact, their last 3 days, they're going out to the field. We're going to introduce those to you and get you a chance to meet those and see where they're going. We've got a maintenance segment with Greg Wakeman this month, and also Company 20 opened up. And we're going to actually close the program, as always, with Have You Ever Wondered? And this month, RB's trying to get himself electrocuted, something to do with VEPCO, Virginia Power. So I think y'all enjoy that. So kick your feet back, and we'll see you in a little while.
Hi, you all know me. I'm Jim Milligan, 14C shift. I'm here today with Captain Mike Claggett of 18A shift. Mike's going to show us a little bit on speed walking. Mike, how long have you been doing speed walking?
About 3 years now.
About 3 years. What got you started in that?
I didn't like running.
That's pretty typical. Most of the guys don't like running.
Right.
Speed walking looks a little funny when you first look at it. You're going to show us today how this is done, right?
Sure, be glad to.
Great. I heard a vicious rumor that you actually got in a race doing this. Is that correct?
Well, I was in the Shamrock last year for the fun walk, it's called.
The fun. Was it fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you do? How many people in the field?
There's about 350.
350. How'd you do?
Overall, I placed 25th.
25th. That's really terrific. Yeah. That's great.
9th in the men's division.
Ninth in the men, but you were beat out by the women.
Of course.
Of course, aren't we always? Yeah, I understand.
I know my place.
Yeah, okay. Well, how long you been in the fire service, Mike?
17 years.
17 years, okay. And have you found that this is really an efficient way of doing your physical fitness here at work?
Yeah, I like it because it gets your target heart rate up like you want it to, and it's real low impact. And you don't need to be a jock or anything like that. You can tell by me. And it's easy. It's easy to do. It's an easy way to do it, and get out and get to see different things also.
Great, I understand. Well, do you have to have a lot of high-tech equipment to do this, or can we just go out and just about anything?
Sure. Well, you can see what I've got. I got my special shoes here, my Kmart, my Walmart $12 specials.
Hey, okay. No $100 shoes to do this?
No $100 shoes.
Hey, that's great. Okay. Well, I don't know about that. Go ahead.
I got my beefed up legs here. My condition is called bird-sitis.
Bird-sitis?
Bird-sitis.
They look like little dad bird legs. You look good.
That's it.
You look good.
Built for speed.
Well, listen, how about talking me through some of the technique of this? Like I said, it does look a little funny at first when you first see how people swing their hips and everything, but we'd really like to try this, learn how to do this today.
Well, there's really nothing to it. The technique, just about getting out and doing it, and as you push yourself with the speed, you just get up like a boat on plane almost. You just get up and the momentum carries you and off you go.
Well, it's not very pretty when some of us get up on a plane, you know? Whoa, okay, hey, that's pretty cool. Mike, I did notice one thing, my shins hurt a little bit from that. Am I doing it wrong, or what's the deal?
No, that's to be expected. You got to, like any other project you get into, you got to work any way into it, so build yourself up.
Well, how about some warm-up then? Should we do that?
Warm-ups and stretches always should be done first.
Great.
And when you just get into it, if you push yourself too hard, you know your shins are going to start hurting, your inner thighs are going to start hurting a little bit, but that's to be expected.
So a cool down as well then?
Cool down and don't push yourself too much to start with.
Okay, well that's the first time out for me, you know, and I can tell I can't even begin to keep up with you in your pace. I'm going to have to run the next time we do this in order to keep up, but that feels really good. My pulse is going a little bit. I guess you try to stay in your target heart range if you can, right? To get in there about, what, 60% or something like that?
Right, just figure out your target heart range, just like we have in the PT program.
60%, by the way, is the best for burning fat over a long, slow burn. If you can do that for a longer period of time, that's the best way to burn fat. Speaking of burning fat, Mike, I got a question we'd like to ask the folks today. You know, there's two types of fat that we consume in our diet. There's saturated fat, and then there's unsaturated fat. Now, which of those two do you suppose would be the preferable fat to eat? Any ideas? What do you say?
Unsaturated.
Unsaturated fat, he's right. Saturated fat turns solid at room temperature, and that's usually an animal product. Unsaturated fat stays liquid at room temperature, and that's usually a vegetable product. So if you have to consume fat between the two,
unsaturated.
Unsaturated fat, great. One more for the folks out there, blurt these things out, see if you know the answer to these. We have three ways of getting our calories. We've got protein, carbohydrates, and fat. Now, per gram of each one of those, protein, carbohydrates, and fat, two of them get 4 calories per gram. One of them gets 9 calories per gram. Would you know the answer to that? Which one of those is 9 calories per gram?
Carbohydrates.
No, not in this case. Not in this case, it's fat. 9 calories per gram of fat, 4 calories per gram of both carbohydrates and protein. So hold down your intake in fat, increase your intake in carbohydrates, and about medium on protein, and you'll do just fine. You'll begin to look like this magnificent specimen right here.
Okay, these are some of the stretches I like to do. Just get warmed up before you get going on your walk. Want to get all those leg muscles stretched out. Usually take about 10-15 minutes to get your stretching done. Those are just a few of them.
All right, you'll have to excuse the noise a little bit. We've got a lot of construction going on over here at Company 18. They're putting in the new pad. That's what they're doing today, right?
New driveway, thank goodness.
New drive. That's part of your obstacle course on the walking track that you have, isn't it?
Right, that's what makes it nice to do your walking here at Company 18. We've got our own track that measures about 0.6 of a mile. And it's got several points that I'd like to bring out to you that makes the track so interesting to walk.
Well, great. While we're watching you do your walking, you'll have to point those out to us. That sounds great.
All right. There's four areas I'd like to bring out to your attention. The first is our scenic water view area. Then we have a hook turn up here that's our hazardous waste area. And then we go around another turn on the other side of the road over here is our tar pit area. And we finish it off with our obstacle course. Okay, Jim, thank you for coming by. It's really been a good workout today. I enjoyed it. I think it's worthwhile. See you later.
They are still searching for bodies in this graveyard of twisted steel and concrete. The problem is that no one knows just where all the construction workers were when the building collapsed. Some were thought to be working in this area in what was to be an underground garage. Its roof simply collapsed as a huge steel crane fell on top of it. Now, men are gingerly looking through 3 layers of pancaked concrete in their search for bodies. More men were believed to be working at the base of the remaining apartment structure under what is now just a pile of rubble. Rain is expected to complicate the search, and there is a very real concern that some of the heavy equipment may just bog down. There is also a delay as workmen wait for a special piece of earth-moving equipment to be brought in from New York. Fairfax County Fireman Lieutenant Harry Dizell discussed the search for the missing men.
At the moment, the figure is 10 unaccounted for.
How do you go about looking for men in a disaster area like this?
It is basically a job of piecemeal extraction of the heavy debris, and we have to examine each piece as it comes out.
You mean they're like layers of pancakes, the concrete in there?
Yes, there are just many, many floors that have done just what you've described, pancaked upon one another.
How soon do you think before all of this will be removed and before you can recover the remaining bodies?
That's awfully hard to estimate, but I would imagine that we will be here for a minimum of 4 or 5 days.
We have the pleasure to have with us today Mr. Norval Allen, who is a volunteer at Rescue 14 for, I guess, about 150 years or so. But he also has a unique sideline. He is a locksmith and has been for a very long time, and is, in fact, a very good one at Ernie's Locksmith, which his dad started down at the ocean front. And we decided we would ask Norval to come by because I know my experience with Slim Jims and operating to try to get in cars. What we did, the truck stopped, we all got out and we took a turn trying to get in the car, and none of us didn't really have a clue how to do it. We just kind of poked it around in there until something popped. And I know it's got to be a better way to do it than that.
There is.
Usually. Okay, let's take a walk over, Norval, and we'll see what kind of tools, first of all, we have to operate with.
Okay, that's what they call a peg leg gym. It's made for the early models of Chrysler pin-tumbler locks. They had a metal box over top the lock, so that was needed to reach up behind the box itself to hit the end of the tailpiece and move the tailpiece on that.
All right. Okay, Norval, what is this funny-looking contraption here?
That's for the new General Motors. It actually fits into the interior compartment of the door to access the little finger button by fitting up underneath the glass and back into your panel. Classic example, the 93 Chevrolet Caprices that the city uses for police cars and some of the fire chief's cars.
See, I can tell you right now, if I got this in a car door, you would have to come and get it out for me. All right, can you run through real quick the rest of these?
These are for attempting on some of the new Fords where they have integrated window channel lock. You can't get a tool in unless through this, but with the new Fords with the rigid tailpieces, they won't do you any good anymore. This is for your horizontal linkage on cars where the button is mounted and it goes back and forth. This goes in and binds on that rod, and you
can move it back
and forth by that.
Yeah, okay.
This is one of those specific tools. This was designed only for Mercedes-Benz 380. That's the only thing it's designed for. It's got a special bend in it. It's made out of tempered steel so that it just accesses at one point.
And the rest of these are just pretty much just specific to certain automobiles.
Specific to certain automobiles.
Okay. And then, well, this is my favorite. We get up here to the economy version. This is the closet version of the lock mechanism.
Sometimes it's the fallback to type tool is to use that. Either that or the other universal tool, which is the window punch.
Right.
But the most common classic that people always think about is the Slim Jim. This is what they call a super Jim by the manufacturer. It's a slightly wider, longer version than what the Slim Jim device, and this is what most people think they can unlock their car with.
Right. Okay, let's grab. That's the one that we have that's similar to the one that's on the wagon. Let's run over there and get busy with it. See if we can unlock this car.
It always helps if you've got some lubricant to spray the edge of the window frame when you're going to do that. Lubricate the rubber so it doesn't tear. You notice we've flexed this right much because we want to connect onto the rod that connects to the locking button as much as possible. You stand much less damage chances if you connect to that rod rather than to any of the other rods that connect to the lock mechanism itself. Because
I notice how the outside of the door is curved. Is that a key? Is that a key to us to where the lock mechanism might be? Is the contour of the outside of the car?
Definitely. The amount of curvature to the door, how the glass has to fit down into the frame, you want probably, the deeper the dish to the door, probably the further back inside the lock mechanism is going to be, because it's got to be connected to the latch mechanism here to connect to the nadir pin.
In most cases, Norval, is it best for us to, whatever we do, to aim for this locking mechanism here? I mean, if we're going to attempt to do it, is this the spot we want to be working?
I do not know if they're going to put what they call flex wedges and lights in the wagons. They do make some plastic wedges that will fit down in here to force the weather stripping out of your way so you can see better.
Oh, really?
But often you probably will not have them with you, or they will be misplaced or lost. The best thing to look for is when whatever tool you're using to place it in the door is to look for the button or the locking switch inside the door to wiggle slightly when you make contact with it.
Oh, okay, great. All right, I noticed before you stick it in here, you also sprayed some silicone on this.
Right.
So
some type of lubricant to prevent the rubber from tearing, especially this one's a little old and dried, and it is pretty hard. So if you have soapy water, anything to try and make it a little bit more slick and easily stand less chance of damaging it.
Okay.
We've put a lot of flex in this one just from past experience. On this one, we're going to try and slide it in through the weather stripping. Okay. See the button move
Yeah.
at that? We've kind of got the glass a little dirty here.
Let it move.
Okay. See And as we lift it up slightly, we saw it move in the correct direction, so we'll just pull right on up. Now, after you've done that, the tool is engaged on the lift rod on here. You don't want to just lift the rod up because you stand a chance of also damaging something, so you want to try and disengage the tool from how you engaged it. So we will swing it out sideways like this, and then we will retract it out of the door.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay, this one was obviously one that you pull up.
This one is
now,
obviously.
On the Slim Jims, most of the Slim Jims that we have, they also have a forked end to those. Are there also the mechanisms that you push down?
Yes, there are also mechanisms to push down. A classic example, the one that you've got out in the fire training center a lot, is a Sunbird. The device that you normally is a rod like this, but it's put in on an angle to connect the rod and pushes away from the lock mechanism itself to push the rod out. The actual button is usually mounted down there by the pull handle itself. So you always want to look at the handle that locks and the movement when your tool goes in. And it varies on each and every car, even the same year model, how the rods are engaged. They change the design in the middle of the year. A common example is some of the middle 80s, they started adding plastic shields over top
like
the rods.
Protectors so that you couldn't get to the mechanism itself.
You could not get to it, or other type of protection against electronics or whatever. So they had that so that people trying to use a regular tool would not engage it. That's when they've gone to some of these other specialty tools that engage only a certain part of the rod itself, and you have to either know or have to, from experience, find that point.
Norval, was there any particular year that they started putting those anti-theft brackets, or I'm saying brackets, I know that's not the term,
or whatever,
in the vehicles?
They varied as far as what type of shield they put on the vehicles. Typically starting in the early 80s. Initially, they were like a fiber type material, like cloth, that was stretched over it to prevent you from getting a firm grip on it. They have gradually increased it now to, on several models of cars, they have a very hard plastic shield that fits entirely over the rod, so there's only very small places that you can access the port or the piece of rod itself to trigger it.
And our tool won't work on that, will it? I mean, if it's that small.
Only if it's small enough to fit in that one square window. S10 pickups has had that window ever since they've been made. They have a small window that's designed up near where the actual lock is mounted on the door. The rod itself runs on the interior of the door panel on the steel inside panel. There's no way to access it with the Slim Jim. There's a special tool that is made by companies that has to access through a 1.5 by 1 inch hole to get to the lock mechanism to trigger it.
Okay, let me ask you this. Is there any particular car that when we get there we should go, you know, I'm sorry, I can't get in there, or we should just tell the lady or the man said, look, you need to just call a locksmith?
If it's, you know, it depends on if it's child locked inside, middle of summer and whatever, take out a window if you have to, as far as that. Most, I can't say absolutely for sure on anything because it's a relative. You may be able to use a rod and get it in beyond where it's normally supposed to be used. You may be able to access a pull handle. Fords are designed so that if you pull the interior handle switch, you will unlock the door and you can get the door open. If the tool will go in, you probably want to be halfway the length of the door and try and access that pull handle to pull the door. Most other car manufacturers now are going to interior rods. The rods are actually going to be mounted on the inside of the steel panel between that and the plastic interior trim plate on the inside. It's very difficult to get to. The only place you're going to get to is right near the handle itself, and look for the actual pull handle on those models that will unlock when you pull on the handle.
So I guess the moral to that is the farther we get along in years, the less and less we're going to be able to utilize the tools, the Slim Jim itself.
As you see, those are just some of the tools we have to carry. There are now, from one manufacturer alone, there are over 100 different car opening tools. And some of them will do many models. There are certain tools that are designed only for 1 year, one model car.
One more question before we close up. Should we, as emergency service personnel, warn these people up front? You know, say, look, I'll help you get in the car, but you know, I can't be responsible for the damage, or I mean, how do you think we should handle that situation? How do you handle it from a professional aspect?
Well, professionally, if I damage something getting the car open, I have to pay for it.
Right.
And it can get very expensive if you make a mistake. Fortunately, knock wood, I have not broken a window. You're dealing with tempered glass, and you're dealing with usually hardened steel tools. All it takes is a wrong time, either real hot weather, real cold weather, the glass is fragile. If you hit it on the edge of edge of the window, that's why you want to insert tools in the middle of the door whenever possible, because if you strike that and just hit the right little tap, the
window blow up.
You got the car open, but the window's kind of laying all over the street.
Okay.
And you can be talking like $300 some for glass, side glass in some of these cars now.
So warn them, I guess, is the moral of the story.
Warn them. It'd be nice if you had a release form, but as the lawyers say, a release form is only as good as the paper it's written on.
Right, exactly.
So you want to be careful, and you don't want to use any excessive force, and none of the two-handed tow truck driver type operation. You want to be gentle as you can.
Well, Norval, we certainly appreciate you coming by here and taking the time out of your day to show us this. I know you being a beachfront business, this is your busy season here. You're getting ready to open up all those motels, so I know it really took something for you to take time out of your day, and I really appreciate that.
Try and help when we get a chance to help.
Thank you very much.
Just remember to be careful and use a light touch when you go to work on them, and don't get the tool jammed in the car door. If you do, try and be a gentle touch coming out the same way you went in.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Cole Neal. I'm going to 16C. I was born and raised in South Florida. I spent 8 years in the Navy as a diver, 4 of those in underwater salvage, 4 of those in explosive ordnance disposal. I live out in the county. I enjoy hunting and fishing. My favorite place to hang out is at Monk's Place on race day with a cheeseburger, and I'm looking forward to getting out on the streets with Virginia Beach's finest.
Hi, my name is Robert Putz. I've been assigned to 9C at Kempsville. I've been a volunteer rescue squad member at Courthouse Rescue Squad for about 7 years, and I'm also a lifeguard supervisor at the oceanfront during the summertime. And I like to play softball and go to the Admiral games during the wintertime, and also like to go to NASCAR races also, pretty much all year round.
My name is Wallace Robertson. I've been assigned to Company 14A. I live in York County, Virginia. I've lived there all my life. I'm real happy about my station assignment, and I can't wait to get started.
Hi, I'm Steve Shook. I'm being assigned to Company 12A. I'm really looking forward to working with Battalion 1. Previous to my employment with the City of Virginia Beach, I was in the construction field and also a volunteer at Company 9.
My name's Chris Francis. I'm assigned to Company 2 B shift. I've been a volunteer with Virginia Beach for almost 4 years. I enjoy playing softball, golfing. I'm really looking forward to getting out into the station and start working.
Hi, my name is Robert Monroe. I'm assigned to Company 2A. I've been in the fire service for 3 years, a year and a half in military reserves, and another year and a half in York County Fire and Rescue. I have a beautiful family with 2 wonderful kids, and I enjoy working out, lifting weights, and doing aerobic workout. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joe Monsatello. I've been assigned to Company 8B shift. I've been a volunteer in Chesapeake for the past 5 years, and I'm just really looking forward to starting workout in the field.
Hi, I'm Joe Duncan. I've been assigned to Company 9A shift. My previous career was an automotive technician. Some of my hobbies include hunting, fishing, sports, helping others. I'm looking forward to my assignment at Company 9A shift. So if there's anybody out there I can help, please give me a call.
Hi, my name's Beth Clark. I've been assigned to Company 11B shift. I was a volunteer with the City of Virginia Beach for about 2 years. I'm proud to be part of the department. Hope to see you in the field.
Hi, my name is Ricky Ross. I've been assigned to Company 16A shift. I live on the Eastern Shore. I've been a volunteer firefighter on the shore for 13 years. Prior to being hired by the city, I worked at NASA as a paid firefighter and am now looking forward to continuing my career with the City of Virginia Beach Fire Department.
The footage you just saw was compliments of Instructor Anderson, who got out to take that. It was an accident on London Bridge Road involving a propane truck and another vehicle, and we hope you enjoyed that. Right now, we're going to go to a maintenance segment. Chief, you want to introduce that segment?
Yeah, we got Greg Wakeman down at the City Garage talking to Bob Ruman, some tips and comments, and some of the necessary things about maintenance on our vehicles. So go ahead, Greg, and take it away.
Okay, what we're going to do also is introduce you to the City Garage crew down here at the pump shop. And these are the folks that fix everything that's broken or do the cyclic maintenance on it. Start off with, we have Robert Rumans here. He's the shop foreman and coordinator down here, and he's the guy when you call down here, you usually hear the squeaky voice at the end of the phone and you hang up real quick. We have Joe Monkey Paws Conway. Show me your hands there, Joe. He's the guy, when you get it back, always looks just like that. Next we have is Brent Redfern. He's another one of the mechanics down here, and these guys do a real good job. Next we have Richard Burkall. He's another one of the fellas down here. Next, Tom Coogan. He's the fella generally takes care of cyclic maintenance when one of the vehicles come down here. And Doug Moss. And Doug's another fine fella. Anytime you call down here to ask any of these guys any questions, they're more than willing to give you whatever information you need to take care of preventive maintenance, and as well as if you got a problem or a question regarding something you just simply don't know. So give them a call anytime. Okay, now we're going to get with Mr. Rumans. He's going to show us some of the more significant damage that has taken place in some of our equipment as a result of lack of lubrication or just any other thing that's taken place. Bob, would you like to show us some of these?
Yes, I'd like to show you a shackle hanger that we just took off of one of the Seagraves, and it actually elongated the brass right here, as you can see, and this is the pin that came out of it, and it really was binding and golding until it golded all the brass out of here. Since we went to the lube system, this is the way that the pins come out now, and as you can see, the pin is polished and cleaned. The bronze bushing on the inside is not elongated or worn out. And the reason for this is because in the station we do not have a way to take the load off the chassis rails to lubricate them correctly. The benefit of the auto lube system that we have on the trucks, the chassis auto lube system, is that the truck is greased as the motion of the truck moves down the street. Whereas in the station, when it's sitting, there's always a loaded side to a pin due to the weight of the truck. And as you can see by this, the loaded side is always the top. And even if you put grease in there, in the station, it doesn't get to the top because the weight of the truck is bearing on it, and it puts the grease on the bottom side of the brass bushing.
Okay, Bob, what else do you have on your board here that you'd like to identify? I know there's quite a few things up here that several people have heard about, and they're pretty unique. I know you've talked about them at the fire chiefs conferences, at seminars for maintenance, and as safety as well. So would you like to identify some of those components?
One of the things I'd like to mention is the auxiliary suctions that you have strainers in. When you find a strainer that's in this condition, remove it, because it's at one time had allowed a rock to go through and into the pump. So this is something that should be checked regularly, and you do that in accordance with the soap and the maintenance when you check your auxiliary suctions and discharges.
Got quite a few things up here also that don't look like they came naturally, huh?
Well, we're going to, a little later, take a picture of some brake drums and some brake shoes that there was a failure to release the maxi brakes. And here's another failure to release the maxi brakes. This is a drive shaft. The operator did not release his maxi brakes when he tried to drive off after it was set. It rung the drive shaft in two. Now, we've done this about 5 times in this city. This is one, and this is one right here. And this happened to be on the Mac aerial scope. This is a pivot on an area ladder that was not greased, and eventually it galled. It had a bearing in it that was supposed to be greased. The outer race was supposed to be greased, that actually set inside of this. Nobody ever greased it, And what it did, it fractured the bearing race, and elongated the pivot on it. And they were complaining about it squeaking a lot. And that was the reason it was squeaking. Nobody had ever greased it.
Okay, Bob, as far as the lubrication on the ladders, you know, does that come back to the fire side, or is it something that we just need to regularly maintain as far as getting the trucks down here for lubrication, or is there a timetable?
Well, we try to grease them once a quarter, get our men out to do it because of the different rollers and different slide blocks and the cables and the shivs that are on it. And it's pretty hard for the firemen in the station to know where all the grease points are on it unless they actually are in attendance when we do it. But if you hear something squeaking or grinding on it, either grease it and bring it to our attention so that we can do something about it. Lots of times the ladders, when you grease them, you have to elevate them. They have to be in the elevation mode as you're greasing it. If you don't, you have a loaded pin in the system just like you do on your springs and shackles and shackle pins.
Okay, that's good. What do we have behind you here? I think I see quite a bit of electrical components hanging up and down the wall there.
Well, some of these are manufacturers' problems that we have wiring shorts on loads, overload of lines. Right over here, we have a couple of them that was done by in-house electricians that caused us some problems. And it's not that we don't want you to do it or hook any of the wiring up, but some of these double-aught and heavy-duty cables can't be junctions and split off into 3 or 4 cables to run 3 or 4 items that's on the truck. That's why we'd rather have you, if you want some wiring done, let us do it.
Okay, just to prove that we're not trying to point fingers at anybody, that the problems happen to anybody, I'm going to show you something happened on engine 16. It was pretty embarrassing to us. It's a fallacy in the system somehow, and Bob, would you like to take this thing and show it to him?
Yes, this is the air filter off the truck. When you're changing your oil and filters on your truck and you inspect your air filter that's on the truck, the air that runs the engine goes through this filter. And you have an indicator in the cab that tells you if this filter's completely blocked or it's starting to get dirty. It doesn't always indicate a true sense of what's actually happening to this filter. This filter also controls whether you get the right RPMs and whether your pump is going to pump to full capacity, because it depends on the horsepower for the engine. When your engine starts getting sluggish or you're starting to blow black smoke out, is sometimes an indication that you don't have proper air going into the diesel engine.
Okay, Bob, one more thing I wanted to cover was, you know, cost on that situation you talked about a few minutes ago with the brakes where the maxi brake was not released. What was the cost of something like that?
Well, just in parts alone, it cost us $920.16, and then you got your labor because of the failure to not release a maxi brake when they drove off with the vehicle.
Okay, so as you can see that any incident that takes place with a piece of equipment is not cheap, and it costs us money, it costs the taxpayers money, so it's our job ultimately to see to it that we prevent damage to equipment and we maintain it to the utmost. Bob, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to come down here and film this here at the garage, and you know we'll be back because you always have something interesting to say.
Glad to have you back anytime.
All right, thanks a lot, and buddy, carry on.
For those of you who haven't had a chance to see Company 20 yet, we've got some video this month. Company 20 was occupied March 29th, 1993. B Shift was the first one that managed to be in the station this year. C Shift had the first call, and A Shift had the thrill of having the first call in 20's first due area. The station's 5,032 square feet, and it'll house one KME telesquirt, engine 20, a tanker, a captain and 4 firefighters on each shift. There are 2 bunk rooms and officers' quarters. The station was built by ATEC Industries Incorporated of Norfolk. The official opening is May 1st, 1993. Dedication ceremonies begin at 10:30, followed by an open house at 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock. The 1st of May is a B shift, so you A and C shifters that might be free, come on by on the 1st of May for our official grand opening of Station 20.
Have you ever wondered what it'd be like to be an overhead lineman for Virginia Power? I always wondered that myself. We're down here at the Fire Training Center today with Clay Card from Virginia Power, and he's going to teach us what the fire department can do to help them out on the job. Man, come on down out of that bucket. Hey, I need to do this for Frontline. I need to fix this light. Come on down and we'll talk about it when you get out of the bucket. Okay, I'm coming down. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome Clay Card from Virginia Power down here to the training center today. He's going to tell us a little bit about what Virginia Power's job is like. He's going to tell us what we can do as firefighters to make his job a little bit easier, possibly. Clay, you just came through a rough week with the storm of the century coming through. Are there anything that you can tell us about, some of the problems you ran across?
Well, it was just mostly wind damage, tree damage, you know, causing most of our power lines to come down. Other than that, and the rain and the snow.
The rain and the snow, that's always tough to deal with. You can see here we're shooting on a rainy day down here, which is appropriate because a lot of his work is done in the rain and the bad weather. We in the fire department have certain SOPs and guidelines that we have to follow, reference down wires and power lines, such as keeping a certain distance away from them. We also are not allowed to pull meters and things like that. Is there anything that you can think of that we can do from a fire department standpoint to make your job a little bit easier?
No, I tell you the truth, City of Virginia Beach Fire Department has done a wonderful job working with us. And I just wish some of the other utilities and services would do just as well.
Good. Well, we try to do a good job for you like you do for us. I mean, you're always Johnny on the spot. I know we just had a working fire down 24th Street, and y'all were, in fact, it was you, matter of fact, up the pole and secured the power on an apartment fire that we had, which was greatly needed at the time, and we appreciate that. In your job, I know you use a lot of equipment and things, and what are some of the tools that you use that you can tell us about that we can be familiar with?
All right, we have the rubber gloves and sleeves that we wear every day when we're doing hot work. We have to air test our gloves, which we'll show you that later, I guess. And the sleeves, we change the gloves every 30 days, change our sleeves every 60 to 90 days, depending on, sometimes they're late coming in. But anytime they have pinholes in them or anything like that, we have to turn them in for a new pair. Then we have hot sticks that we use for hot work where we can't get to the lines on our hand, 34,000. We have to glove that sometimes, but if we can't get to it or it's in a situation where we can't drop the lights, we use hot sticks. And then, of course, our bucket truck is a valuable piece of equipment to overhead linemen.
Right. Okay, Clay, we talked about some of the jobs and responsibilities that you have. As the fire department goes, like I said, we have some SOPs, standard operating procedures that deal with down electrical wires and electrical problems out on the scene. I'd like to take this opportunity to remind everybody that, first of all, if you have down electrical wires, review your SOP on that. Look at it, because you don't want to approach those electrical wires, assume that they're live if they're down. Seems to be our policy. Does that seem to be the way y'all like to do business?
That'd be a good idea. Okay. Just assume it's live and wait for us to get there to de-energize it for you.
Good deal. So secure the area and stay at least 2 spans back and go ahead and wait till Virginia Power gets there. And if you have a victim and they're covered with the lines or whatever, just leave them there and assume that, that they're energized also till Virginia Power can get there and secure the power so we can make a good rescue, okay, a safe rescue. Another thing we are told in our policies is we're not allowed to pull meters anymore. Years ago, we used to pull meters. Is there anything you can tell us about that? We're not allowed to do that anymore. Can you tell us some reasons why and give the people some information on that?
Well, to begin with, the fire department really hasn't had the extensive training that we've had about meters. Also, you're not issued protective rubber gloves and sleeves for pulling these meters under energized conditions. And some of them, we have K4s and K7 meters, they're bolted on. the only way you'd remove them is with a sledgehammer.
Right.
So,
yeah, obviously not something we can do.
Not something that we don't want you to do.
Right,
Yeah,
there
right.
you go. Want to emphasize that point. Some of the meters in the past, you had mentioned may have had a potential to explode, or can you tell us a little bit about those? Or
Well, if you have a short and you go to remove a meter, and it's going to be right in your face if you take that meter out.
Good deal.
And glass could fly as far as 40, 50 feet. And at that velocity, it'll go through your face.
Right. Well, that's a
And
good
we'd
thing.
hate to see that.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen. Y'all do have national standards that cover that, and obviously, what can you tell us a little bit about those? What's required for y'all to pull a meter? Some
Well,
equipment.
we have to wear protective eye equipment, safety glasses. We have to wear rubber gloves and sleeves. We also have to do, installing a meter, we have to do 9, 10 different checks before we can install a meter to make sure there's no short on the customer side of his wire.
His wire.
And that's basically it.
Okay. Well, there's a lot goes into it. I know y'all are well trained in that job. We know in our policy, and just like to reemphasize the fact that we're not going to pull meters. It's not our job, and we've kind of got a little agreement between Virginia Power and us. They're not going to put out fires, and we're not going to deal with electricity. So I think that's pretty good.
That's a good agreement.
Okay. I think we got that established. Okay. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Clay for coming down. Appreciate you bringing your equipment down, your truck, and taking the time to share this information with us. I hope everybody learned something from it. I'd like to remind you to review your SOP on dealing with electrical hazards, and Virginia Power's out there to help us. Let's utilize them to the best of our ability, and we're out there to help them the best way we can, and most importantly, try to stay away from those electrical wires and power meters and transformers. Thank you, Clay.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Clay Card from Virginia Power for coming down and showing us his truck and his equipment today and telling us what we could do to help them out on the street. I think I know enough about it now that I can go ahead and fix this light. Let's see. Obviously I don't. For have you ever wondered, I'm a slightly well done Battalion Chief RB Alley. Well, as you can see, RB's been down here working on the lights again, but we haven't quite got that thing straightened back out. And RB, if you think about it, you can come back down here and see if you can correct what you've done wrong. I want to close out the program. Chief Brim, we want to thank you for coming by. We really appreciate it. Anything closing comments you got?
Well, no, I just thanks for inviting me down here for my first of many Frontlines, and hope everything goes along well.
Well, I hope it does. I hope he doesn't figure out exactly what we do down here too quick is what I'm hoping. All right, that'll about do it for another program. Until next month, stay safe.